Good evening and welcome to Talk Sports, our week, midweek program, I should say, where we, discuss sporting uh, events, activities, discussions. We also speak to the movers and shakers in sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, administrators, what have you, involved in sports. So we should be speaking with Miss Kathy Harper-Hall tonight regarding an upcoming activity involving the Caribbean boxing fraternity, which will involve the boxers, their coaches, trainers, referees, judges. It's an evening of entertainment with Caribbean boxers. We hope that Kathy will come on and give us more information. However, there are a couple of things I want to talk about outside of that, and the big news coming out of Grenada um, this week had to do with the resignation of the president of the Grenada Olympic Committee, Mr. Charles George, also known as Charlie, after only a few months, in office. It therefore means that Mr. Chenny Joseph, the first vice president, is now the acting president of the Grenada Olympic Committee. Something we'll have to discuss a lot about that. But it seems as if all is not well within the ranks of the Grenada Olympic Committee. There's been a lot of, bad press, we will say, over the last few months. And then we are hoping that everything was back to some level of normalcy, with a new board of directors and probably, a new focus. But it seems as if all is not well within the ranks of the Grenada Olympic Committee. And we which resulted in the resignation of the president, Mr. Charles George, um, effective November 30th. It's quite a lot. Well, it seems, yes, Mikey. I'll say it seems, because we don't know, we do not know all the facts, right? We do not know. Okay, it can be subjective, right? But for now, because there are those who can argue that all is well, okay? We don't know all the facts, right? Mr. George put out his reason, he gave his reasons as to why, you know, he decided to resign, okay? Um, we can only assume that from that, what is happening there is that things are not too well. And I still want to I want to be very careful and use operative word. Seems, seems, yes, Mikey, yeah, seems. Don't laugh at that. Yeah, but you know, it's very serious though in terms of the direction because based on what Mr. George outlined in his letter, uh, you know, it therefore gives it will give reasons and sort of school of thought as to when, and I don't know if Mr. Chenny Joseph, and I've been looking at the Constitution, the updated Constitution over the past few hours, and I'm hope to go through in its entirety and look for the particular section that I want. But Mr. Joseph may have to probably, look for a fresh mandate. I know it's only a few months into a 4-year term, but it appears that you'll have to, look for a fresh mandate. And I think that the the council, that which is the affiliate, should pursue also, a fresh mandate, even if it means some of the current members are re-elected, but just to bring some level of stability, some, level of satisfaction among the, not so much the public because it's more so the affiliates, I think they should pursue a fresh mandate. That's the Grenada Olympic Committee, it's sort of sad. And again, it brings home the point I've been making over the past few months that we have to look for people to put in these positions who understand, you know, and who has a background and comes from a background where there's proper club structure. And that's the problem, the lack of proper club structures and how they have been operating are some of the elements that are really showing now. Because what has happened is that folks who tend to be the loudest, and I like to use the Grenada Football Association. I'm sorry, Mr. Joseph and others, for picking on that because I use it because back then I used to attend, council meetings, not so much as a reporter, but just as an observer, you know. And what has happened, and I use Football Association because it's probably one of the largest in terms of the sporting associations in Grenada, okay, in terms of affiliates and organized meetings, etc., etc. Okay, and what I've noticed is that the loudest, those who tend to be the loudest at meetings, shouting, etc., always tend to get the nod. Strange enough, as someone who can lead, someone who should have an executive position. You know, I've heard where guys will say, "I'll vote for him. I'll vote for him." Because he's the one that gives a lot of trouble, he's the one that makes a lot of noise, and these sort of things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I'm telling you there. And it appears that that too is seeping into a national sporting association as the Grenada Olympic Committee. Sad, you know. And we have to get away, and that's what I want the affiliates to understand. You have to get away from the point where because this person or these, I don't want to single out anyone in particular, are the most raucous, the loudest, asking the most questions, giving the most trouble, etc., etc. You believe that that person or these, group, these group of people should be elected without looking at their background in terms of their skill sets, what they bring in to the national association, the sporting association, etc., etc. Even how they operate in their national association. Because a lot of national sporting associations don't really operate, or sometimes it's just a one-man band, and they're not functioning. But yet, for all, they have representatives, you know. So I think it's an opportunity as well for the um, the Grenada Olympic Committee and the affiliates to reflect, and in some instances, probably a clean house, a clean slate. We are all hoping and wishing for the best, but based on Mr. George's letter, and I've known Mr. George for many, many years. You know, he's an old River Rhodian, etc., etc., and very close to the family, and things like that. So, and I have no reason to doubt and his sincerity and his honesty, integrity, etc., etc. In terms of sport, okay, in particular, I have no reason to doubt Mr. George. I've worked along with Mr. George, really the Athletic Association, many years ago, etc., etc., and I know his commitment. He's not the one who, in the forefront talks a lot. And when Mr. If there is a situation where Mr. George decides to write or to express himself in such a manner, I know it's something from within, based on the sort of personality, based on the sort of character. He's sort of easygoing, doesn't speak a lot on issues, but when he has to, it's because there are reasons for him to, you know, and he raised the issue of traveling and all these sort of things, and I recall there was uh, I think it was 2015 or 2013, one of those years in particular. I met Mr. George in Moscow. Yeah, we were in Moscow. And he was telling me the only reason he traveled to Moscow was because he was specifically invited by the IAAF. Normally, Mr. George would not go. He will send someone, he will delegate someone to represent. He doesn't like the long traveling. He's not the person who likes the traveling, you know. And I saw that was also mentioned in his letter regarding the whole issue of traveling and things like that. Really sad, really sad. Sad state of affairs regarding the Grenada Olympic Committee, and one would hope that I don't know what to say again, But Mr. Joseph, the ball is in your court as the acting president, first vice president and acting president now, with the resignation of Mr. Charlie George. And the hope is that you will look at the bigger picture. And if I'm to suggest to you, if I'm to recommend to you, if I have to advise you, I would suggest that you go to root. And again, I'm only saying it without thinking about what the Constitution says. But my advice is that you should probably, seek a fresh mandate, ensure that the affiliates are happy with the team around, and based on all that Mr. George, that's Mr. Charlie George has raised, I think there should be some soul searching. Okay. I'll come back to that in a while, but just to let you know that Grenada continues to participate in the Junior Pan American Games taking place in Colombia, in Cali, Colombia. The track and field segment is now in progress over the past 2 days. In fact, Gamali Felix ran the 400 meters final today. He finished fourth. And I think Junior Thomas, also is competing in the multi events. Certainly we'll have some more information. But Gamali finished fourth, 54, 46.54 seconds. Without glasses tonight. Well, for now, 46. In fact, it was the Mexican who won the event in 45.59. Very fast times for those youngsters. 45.59 youngsters. Yeah. So Gamali finishing fourth. Well, congrats, Gamali, at least making the final, and continue. We also have the tennis players, both the lawn tennis and the table tennis, competing as well. The swimmers have completed their social, and we continue to support our young participants at the Junior Pan Am Games. It's the first ever of its kind in terms of the Junior Pan Am Games, and the hope is that these folks can move on to other championships, other games. Whether it's Junior Pan Am, we're hoping that not too long from now they will be at the Pan Am Games itself. There's also the CSC Games, that's Central American and Caribbean Games, in the various stages. We must give some kudos to the Grenada Olympic Committee for ensuring that there was broad representation. Most times at these games, it's just track and field dominating. Now we are seeing, and it's a hope too that the national sporting federations, the sports associations, will take the cue and ensure that from now on we can have consistent participation and not just at the Junior Pan Am Games, but other games where, um, whether it's tennis, whether it's table tennis, as you say, swimming, track and field, boxing. But we did add boxer earlier. Um, you know, the various sports, badminton, most of the sports that we participate in, we want to see more participation from there. But again, it's only even volleyball, volleyball, basketball. We want to see that. But the Olympic Committee, from what I know, and I can go on based on my experience in the past, is not really responsible, for selecting, you know, participants. Is the national sporting associations are the one who are responsible ensuring that they have the participants who are either qualified or who, can be selected, and then it's the Olympic Committee in turn that will ensure their participation by way of accreditation, all the logistics to get them to the games. I think sometimes people do not understand the responsibilities of the various associations, and sometimes they lump all the blame on the Olympic Committee, not understanding what really happens. The Olympic Committee is the one who is like the go between the associations and the International Olympic Committee for that instance. So they are the ones who will, in the final analysis, ensure that the athletes and the coaches and all those travel to the games, the accommodation, all these sort of things. They can only go with what the associations, provide them. So in some cases, they may have to qualify. They may have qualifications, and things like that. Sometimes they may have quotas. A lot of times, like for swimming, for example, because of it's so competitive, they normally will offer quotas. Like FINA, for example, will offer quotas for swimming, and they may say, okay, one male, one female, and the Grenada, the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association now will have to decide which, who are the swimmers that they will select to represent. That will pass on now. They will pass that information on to the Grenada Olympic Committee, who will do all the necessary logistics in terms of the accreditation and all the information, etc., etc. But not the Olympic Committee that's actually making the selection. Same thing with athletics. Same thing with tennis, etc., etc. Okay. Yeah, I hope some folks do understand how these things operate. Probably in the new year we may get someone from the Olympic Committee to come on to our program and explain, well, yeah, someone from the Olympic Committee who wants things settled down within the Olympic Committee who can come on and explain how these things operate. Okay, right. Yes. So what again? Well, folks, I got up very early this morning. But by the way, just to let you know, I'm actually in Charleston, in South Carolina this week. Okay, South Carolina. So I got up very early. Cricket. Yes, West Indies versus Sri Lanka, and because I was following it, and I believe that West Indies had the stranglehold. Um, Sri Lanka in the second innings, 200, what was 238 for eight at the time. Well, they went on to 300 plus. Well, it was a 150. Well, it's 150. Well, yeah, I think it's a 130 something, 140 run partnership, ninth wicket partnership that just slipped out of the West Indies grip. So uh, hopefully, hopefully, when play resumes, they may be able to either restrict Sri Lanka or take the remaining two wickets, um, and hope that and hope that there's no piling on to the runs, because at, it was only about 180 something runs lead. So certainly, if they're taking those two wickets within the region of probably 200 runs, it was gettable for West Indies. But you know, I can't complain and say that I wasted my early morning, wake up. I support West Indies cricket. So, I got up to look at the cricket, you know, but I'll get up again early in the morning I'll wake again early to see how things go. But all I can see is continue to support um, West Indies cricket. you know, I'm only laughing because I read some of the comments and things like that. So, but folks, yeah, we continue to support West Indies cricket. Yeah. What again happening? Yeah. Okay. So we're getting closer to the end of the year, and normally we start doing our, review, and hopefully we'll have the president of the NACAC to come onto our program. He has agreed to come onto the program. He's just finalizing which program before the end of the year, and to review the NACAC in 2021 and looking forward to 2022. As you know, it was a very good year for NACAC, despite the pandemic. Copped number of awards, the IWF World Athletics, I should say, World Athletics awards. Um, you know, Female Athlete of the Year, Rising Star of the Year, Association of the Year. I think it was 4 to 5 awards that the NACAC region pulled through. So Mr. Mike Sands from the Bahamas will be on our program to talk about that and the year in review, 2021. Looking forward to 2022 because it seems that it will be very exciting for the NACAP region in terms of events, hosting of events, etc., etc. So we'll have Mike Sands to talk about that. We spoke about Mr. Keith Joseph. Well, Keith Joseph will be back again sometime this month, to wrap up the year. And, again, I'm certain that Keith will be hot. The last time he was on the program a few weeks ago, he was very, very hot. I'm certain that he'll be bringing a lot to the program. Keith is in Colombia now, and you know, he will obviously talk as well about the first Junior Pan Am Games, providing a sort of region-wide, synopsis in terms of participation, performance, etc., etc., as well as its hard-hitting commentaries as well. Mr. Key Joseph von Vincent and the Grenadines will be on our program. Yeah. What again do we have? Well, that in terms of programming, in terms of programming, we have Keith and Mike Sands, and we do have one or two others because I think by and large it's probably about 7 programs we'll have. If we look at the weekend as well, probably 7 programs for the rest of the year. We don't have a program on the Christmas Day, of course. Christmas Day falls on a Saturday, and we do not have a program on that day on Saturday. So we do have a program on Saturday the 4th, the 9th, that's Thursday the 9th, the 11th, the 16th and the 18th, the 23rd, with a question mark because we know that especially in the Caribbean, with Christmas on the Saturday, the Thursday may be closer to the what you would call Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is the Friday, but we know the mentality in the Caribbean is that hey, Christmas is on the weekend, so probably the 2 or 3 days, some cases before Christmas will be shopping days. Okay, and then we come with a final program on the 30th of December, which is a Thursday, the 30th of December. The 1st of January, 2022, no program. As traditional as it, we always leave the 1st of January. It's a holiday, and folks, it's a time to reflect. We will just bounce back on the 1st. It will be, in terms of the first program for 2022, will be on the 6th of January. That's Thursday, the 6th of January. So that's just some, things to remember. Well, okay, so let me just let you know what is actually happening regarding. So, uh, well, we should have had Kathy. Still hoping that she probably may come on to get a few minutes because we just have about what just a few minutes remaining on the program, and we still want to hear what is happening with the boxers in the region. Let me see if Kathy is
I am
there.
here.
Okay, so Kathy is actually here with us now. So let me say good evening to you, Kathy. I was
Good
just
evening. And I'm so sorry, but I got caught up in something else that I was doing,
okay.
and just the time just got away from me. I'm so sorry.
Okay then. So as we are saying, in terms of the activity, the upcoming activity regarding the Caribbean boxers,
Yes,
the idea is to bring the Caribbean boxing fraternity together
together. Yes.
um, and to have an activity for them. Why you think that is needed at this time, Kathy?
Well, this is the time of year that
Hmm.
Caribbean boxers always come together. We come together for the Caribbean Boxing Championships in December. And all things being equal, right now we would have been in St. Martin having a great time with all the Caribbean boxers from juniors to youth to novices to elite. All the officials, we would all be there. And since COVID-19 has dictated the pace and we can't be there, we decided that we would find a way to bring us all together, and not necessarily in a competitive way, but in a fun way that we can all still enjoy some kind of fellowship and have an evening of, we're calling it an evening of togetherness, where we will all come together and have some fun, and it will be both educational and fun. We have looked at the performance of our boxers at the World Championships, and we realized that we had just one boxer of the, I think there were either 13 or 14 boxers from the Caribbean there, and we had just one boxer who got to quarterfinals and one to semifinals. And so we have asked Nigel, who is right now our most outstanding male boxer in the Caribbean, to come in on Saturday and tell us about his journey, how how he got there. And then we have our most outstanding female boxer Kimberly Gittins in Barbados. She's the most outstanding female boxer in the region right now. And we have also asked her to come in and tell us about her journey. But apart from that, we will have the boxers demonstrate skills that they have that are not boxing skills. For instance, we have a boxer, one of our senior elite boxers from the Bahamas, who just came back from the World Championships. I think I was, he has been to, he's been to more than one World Championships. He's done extremely well, and he's coming in on Saturday to dance. We have a
Hmm.
boxer who is coming in to do a rap. We have a young lady, one of our young women boxer, who is coming in to play the drums. We have a little group of young people from Carriacou who are doing a production of their own. We're not sure what it is yet, but they are busy preparing for this production, and we have asked them to ensure that they record it and send it to us. So, we're looking forward to the fun.
Hmm.
In addition to that, we have grouped the Caribbean countries into four teams. And these four teams will vie against each other to answer questions about the Caribbean and about boxing in the Caribbean. And they where anyone from any one of the countries can answer the question as they are asked in their team. And it will be very interesting to hear how much they really know about boxing in the Caribbean. Because we are going to be doing it Jeopardy style, and okay, so we say boxing personalities for 1,000, and the question will come up, who is so and so and so, and if they get the answer right, they get 1,000 points. Then we may say boxing history, for 400. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then coming down to the end of it, we're going to have a karaoke section. And those who want to come in and say do karaoke, come choose your song. Someone will go to YouTube and get it and put it on the screen, and you will sing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We were trying to see if we could have got a boxing celebrity, one of the top world champions, especially one who has a, a Caribbean history, Caribbean heritage. And we are still hoping that we could get somebody like Lennox Lewis,
Okay. Yeah.
to come in and just spend a couple of minutes, talking to the young people. So that is still on the cards. It has not yet been confirmed, but we are still hoping that we will get that. If we don't, then we just move with our own Caribbean celebrities. Then when we
Hmm.
come to the end of the program, we are going to
Hmm.
open it for anybody who want to share.
To share.
You feel
But
free.
so far you will say that you're getting the support and cooperation from the fraternity in the Caribbean, right?
Oh yes, oh yes. They're all fired up. They're all fired up. And as a matter of fact, we have one coach from Aruba who is going to be singing, you know, and he's all ready to sing. He tells me, but I really can't sing, but I want to sing. You know? So they're all fired up and ready to go.
And
And
and, and 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 as you indicated, not it's not just the boxers, but whether it's the coaches, as you just mentioned there, the judges, the referees, even the ring announcer if they are ring announcers,
it's the
right?
entire boxing family of the Caribbean, entire boxing family from across the Caribbean, right across, all down to Suriname, Belize, uh, Aruba, everybody across the Caribbean, everybody. And as we said, we are not leaving out anyone. Administrators, coaches, managers, referee judges, boxers, friends of boxers if they want to come in, family members of boxers if they want to come in. We are not letting out anybody. We are not leaving out anybody.
Mhm. And following that, I am certain that through that the hope is to yes, the entertainment side, the fun side of the boxers and the boxing fraternity, but on the serious side, you're hoping that come 2022, in terms of whether it's competitions, championships, development programs, whatever it is, that we will see more of that in the Caribbean.
Oh yes, we are on a mission right now to getting some of our referee judges and coaches trained, and not just trained, but qualified, certified at the international level. And we are in the process of preparing a proposal to put forward to get a lot more of our officials qualified. We have realized that the level of boxing in the region has a lot to do with the level of coaching and the level of officiating in the region. And so we need to increase the level of improve on the level of competence of our coaches and our technical officials, so that they in turn will be able to increase the level of competence of our boxers. So we have it on the drawing board from the Caribbean Boxing Association's perspective to work on education programs for our coaches and our technical officials. And by technical officials, I mean our referee judges, our ITOs, the cut men, the refereeing side doctors, the entire works across, the people who score, the people who operate our scoring system, everybody, that we want to get a training program, and we want to set up a 2 year schedule where we approach AIBA, we approach the AMBC for help, and we get that training program going. In addition, we still have our mindset on the Caribbean Championships in St. Martin in December 2022. But leading up to that, there are a number of other activities that will come in between, apart from say the women's championships and the continental championships. If from the AMBCS perspective, it is anticipated that individual countries will put on boxing cards and invite other countries. We will invite one another, to our events to give our boxers some competition, because the boxers have been starved for competition. Bear in mind, Michael, that for it's almost 2 years that they have not boxed. And some of them not only not boxed, but 2 years that they have not trained properly. Because, for instance, in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Grenada, they can't train. There's no contact. And I think in St. Lucia they can train, but most of the other Caribbean countries, in Jamaica they can't, in the U.S. Virgin Islands they can't. So the boxers are at a distinct disadvantage right now, and so we are looking at how we can help. And this is probably one of the reasons why we are bringing people together, because they are so frustrated. Some of them are so out, down and out, and about to get leave the sport. That is one of the reasons why we thought of bringing them together for fun time, Christmas time, end of year, fun time, and at the same time serious time, because we will also have some discussions with them about where they can go and how they can go and how they can stay in the sport, and why they should stay in the sport, etc.
So you're saying too that there is a concern that due to the lack of participation, training, boxing, whatever, that some boxers may have, over the past few months, decided to quit the sport altogether.
Oh yes, some of them, not necessarily to quit the sport, but they just have lost interest,
Lost interest, right?
and they might not necessarily move on to another sport, because most of the other sports are in the same position anyhow, that they can't do what they have to do. So they might not necessarily move on to another sport. They might just lose interest and then not continue their training, and find other things to do. And then to get them back, now you have to set out now, work hard to see if you can get them back. If not, you have to go for a new core. And I can see most Caribbean countries right now having to start with a new set of boxers, really, and try and recruit. Right now, for instance, with us here in Barbados, we are working on a project that we are calling our Ohana project, that we are calling the Gloves Over Guns, which we are going to go into vulnerable communities to help to find some young people, to bring them out, to get them involved in the sport, not just from the point of view of trying to reduce the level of violence in the communities, but also to increase the number of persons involved in the sport. And these will be new people, fresh people coming in for the first time, and then we have to work on them now and set a goal for them to reach a certain level by a certain time. So everybody across the Caribbean now is going to have to get creative and find a way not only to recruit but to retain.
Um, you know, some years ago, well, years ago, I know that in terms of recruiting, in terms of participation, most of the boxers then used to come from the regiment, the military, the police, you know, whether it's Barbados, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Guyana, even Grenada, they had most of our boxers, seasoned boxers were actually from, the police force. And is there a situation where we still seeing that a lot of our boxers are coming from that that's service sector, the military, paramilitary, or it's a situation where we have coming just from the villages or the communities?
Well, Guyana for sure, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, most of their boxers are from the military, and in some cases from the police. In Barbados, our policemen are not really allowed to box for whatever reason, we don't know. And at one stage, our military people were not allowed to box either. But what happened was that our defense force had what they called a sports program. and they used to recruit young people with potential to move on, and put them in a special program. But they were not soldiers; they were just in a special program in the Defense Force. Over the last, I would say, 4, 5, less than a year, that concept has changed somewhat, and because the sports program itself is being phased out. And what is happening now, they are encouraging those people who were in the sports program to join the army with the understanding that they will still be allowed to continue with their sport. So that is a really brand new thing for Barbados. I am not sure about the other islands, how many of them have people from the military or the police. We don't even have one police officer in our program, not even one. So, we do have Kimberly's in the military. Kimberly Gittens is in the military, and the Defense Force has been very, very supportive of having her in the program. And we have two others who have now joined up in the military, and they have given us their word that they will support, and we are hoping now that that will increase. But the point is that when you have the armed forces involved in a sport like boxing, it does a lot for the sport, and it
Mhm.
does a lot for the country. It is amazing, how boxing is a special kind of sport, a different kind of sport, and it really helps when you have persons like those involved.
I want to ask you this because I know you have been involved in sports, and when I say sports, not just boxing, but netball and other sports.
Track and field.
Right, yes, track and field as well. Or over the many years you have been involved as a
Hmm.
sports administrator. Um, some time ago, I had Mr. Keith Joseph on the program, and he spoke about his disappointment regarding the CARICOM and the lack there of support for sports. And he made reference, for example, where, you know, CARICOM had a subcommittee to look at cricket. And his disgust was that, hey, cricket, why not a subcommittee to look at sports in general in the Caribbean? You know, and in the context of why only cricket, and we have so many other sports where other folks are excelling in the Caribbean. So in this case, boxing, netball, football, track and field, etc. What's your position on that?
Well, I was involved in an organization many years ago called the Organization of Caribbean Administrators of Sport and Physical Education, OCASP. And one of the things that we pushed for in that organization was a sports desk at CARICOM. We've always wanted, they had the OECS sports desk, and the OECS sports desk was in St. Lucia.
Mhm.
And we wanted to have a CARICOM sports desk. They fought us on it, and they fought us on it, and they made a compromise where they had what they called a, a council of ministers of sport, and other people are in it. They had a term for it, and then they had an officer who was based there at the CARICOM headquarters, who had some form of responsibility for sport, but it was not a sports desk. But the thing about it is that sometimes you could do the right thing for the wrong reason. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I see
You
where
could
you're
do the
going.
right thing for the wrong reason. And I think at that point, CARICOM did the right thing for the wrong reason. I will not go into what it was, but the person who was appointed for the in the right position for the wrong reason. And so it never really got too far. And eventually, when things didn't go the way that they thought it would have gone, the post was declared again. There was no longer the post. So there is no place in CARICOM for sports. No, I feel very, very strongly about it. Very, very strongly. That CARICOM should have a sports desk which deals primarily with sports across the Caribbean. And that particular sports desk would then liaise with primarily with the directors of sport in the region, because the directors of sport in the region are the people who monitor sports and manage sport more or less in each country. The director of sport in each country is responsible to ensure that sport moves in his or her country. So if whoever the group of persons who would work with this sports, there should be the directors of sport, not the ministers of sport, because the ministers of sport are ministers of not sport. The ministers of sports are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and sports. Everybody
Yeah.
have sport tack on at the end somewhere. Or even if they tack it somewhere in the middle, they have two or three other things following it. And so we don't really have any, I don't think we really have any real minister of sport across the Caribbean. It's always minister of sport and something else. And in a lot of cases, four and five other things and sport. Whereas the directors of sport deal directly with sports.
Hmm.
Yes, they can go to their ministers and they can have and there is nothing wrong with the ministers who are responsible for sport coming together once a year or wherever they want to come together with with recommendations from their respective directors of sport. Are these ministers of sports are politicians? They're not sports necessarily sports people, and as I said, I feel extremely strong about the fact that CARICOM does not pay more attention to sports, really. And to tell me that you make special provision for cricket. Cricket is one sport, one and only sport, and it is not even the most successful sport anymore. No, seriously, it is not even the more, and the efforts that they are making are not effort to make it any more successful either, because they're not really doing anything to make the more they talk, the more they think the worse the team perform. So, I mean, we to tell me that you have a special arrangement for cricket, you are throwing cold water on all the other sports.
Yeah, that's indeed. You know, uh,
I
so
guess the politicians will hear me and they will be mad with me, but I say what I have to say.
understandable, understandable. And again, I'm saying, you're in a position to speak on that because you have been around sports for quite a while.
Oh, too long. I've been around sport for over 70 years.
I didn't want to say it, so I
No,
glad
no,
you
no,
said
no.
it.
I was in sport from I was 7 years old, but I was
Mhm.
seriously involved in sport from I was 14 years old, and I'm now 84. So it's over 70 years since I've been involved in sport.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Well, while we on that, and we'll come back to to wrap up, we'll come back to talk about the substantive issue which has to do with the boxing and the
Oh, you
activity
mean
on,
December 11th?
yeah, December 11th. In fact, that will be next Saturday. Okay,
Yes.
next Saturday, right? Yeah. But while you were at it, what's um, your reaction or your comments? It's not directly sports of Barbados moving towards a republic. I know there have been varied views, but it was big in the news for the past 2 days, and somehow Barbados stole the spotlight. you know, um, Even at the time when the variant was kicking, somehow all how you turn, it was Barbados, whether it was the ABC, CBS, CNN, BBC,
Oh yeah,
Al Jazeera.
we were in the news across the world.
Mhm.
My thing about it is I think that I am neutral on it. I am still waiting to understand exactly what the difference will be. And I am not one of those persons who do not know that I do not know. you know, if you do not know that you do not know, then something is wrong with you. And I am not very sure that I know what what the significant difference, apart from changing names and changing from a governor general to a prime minister,
A
and changing
president.
the name sorry, to a president, and
Mhm.
changing the name of the Royal Barbados Police Force to the Barbados Police Service. Apart from those name changes and those cosmetic things, I am not sure what the significant changes will be. I'm sure there will be as time goes by. I don't expect that they are going to change overnight, but I'm sure that there will be significant changes as time will go by. But as I said, I'm not sure what they are or what they will be, so I prefer not to comment on it.
Mhm. But do you think some of the other islands in the Caribbean may try to follow suit?
Well, if it is of significant importance and it makes a difference, if it will make a difference in the lives of our Caribbean people, by all means. But as I said, I do not know. And I you know, to say that you're breaking away from the Queen, and we no longer want the Queen. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure what the Queen used to do for us in the first place. So breaking away from the Queen can't be any big thing at this point, because I really don't know what it is that they tell us that our Governor General was the Queen's representative. So I don't not know whether the Queen would tell her what to do or what not to do. I don't know, But I would think that the concept of having our own, being able to stand on our own 2 feet and having our own person, our own selectee, our own indigenous person as the head of our state, I think that says something positive for us.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Let's so we have a couple of minutes to talk about our what do you want to call that activity next Saturday?
An evening of togetherness. At first, we had said an evening of celebration, but then we've changed it to an evening of togetherness. We are all coming together as a family, the Caribbean boxing family, to celebrate. This is our end of year. This is Christmas. We have asked everybody to come with a glass of something, a glass of wine, a glass of water, a glass of juice, whatever you want to come with. But you come with something, and we're going to have some toast, whether people are having birthdays, they're having anniversaries. We're going to be having some toast going. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to be having an evening of fun and an evening of excitement.
Mhm. And I guess as much it all has to do also with identify well not just but seeing what our boxers and trainers and coaches and others can do outside of boxing.
Outside of boxing, that's right. That's right. To see what they do, or what other talents they have.
Right.
When I was told that this, I understand that it's not even is a group of children, young children who are in the Carriacou boxing gym, who are planning to do this thing, and that really touched me when I heard that one, because this is a group of young people now who think enough about boxing that they would want to come and do something to show off that they can do things other than boxing. And when young man from the Bahamas, Carl Hill, said, "Okay," I was told that he was a dancer, and when I spoke to him and asked him if he would dance, he said, "Sure." The only problem that he had was he was going to be in Cuba at the time of that, and he wasn't sure what Wi-Fi he would have been able to get where he was going to be in Cuba. And then he sent me a message yesterday telling me he has confirmed that the Wi-Fi is strong. He
Okay.
hasn't got to Cuba yet, but he has confirmed that the Wi-Fi at where he's going to be will be strong enough for him to do what he wants to do. And then, when this little young lady from Barbados said to me, she's apart from being a boxer, she's a drummer, and she wants to play the drums. I mean, it made me feel really good,
Right.
to know that she would want to do something like that. And then we have another young man from the Bahamas as well who wants to do poetry, and I guess he's going to do his own poem that he wrote. The guy who is going to do the rap is his own song that he wrote, And he, as a boxer, and yeah, he's also a Calypsonian. So it is good to know that the boxers have, I have, that's why I put in my thing. I said boxers have talent. They do have talent other than boxing, and it will be good. It's good for them to come and show off the talent that they have.
Mhm. Yeah, well, glad to know that is taking place, and hopefully that other sporting associations in the Caribbean. Well, I mean, it's too late for them now, but
All right, too
probably,
late for them for Christmas.
yeah, yeah, for Christmas, but
But
probably
but
in the
Michael,
future, in the
when
future,
when I
yeah.
first the Caribbean Boxing Association, we have a meeting on the first Sunday of every month. Every month we have a meeting. The Caribbean, we come together. And when I mooted that at the last meeting, the thought, this not going to happen. And I said, okay, tell you what, leave it to me. I am going to let it happen. I'm going to make it happen. And people had a lot of reservations at first. And then they said, okay, if you think that you can make it happen, you have our blessing. But since I started it and started sending things out to people, I've been getting a lot of support. And a lot of people think it's a fantastic idea. And now a lot of people are joining in. The young man who is going to be controlling it for me is from Dominica. I am not
Mhm.
going to be controlling it at all. He's from Dominica, and he has accepted to take charge of it. He's going to be using his own setup, and because
Right.
he has a system that he can handle up to 500 people. We're not going to have 500 people, I know,
Mhm.
but he can handle up to 500
Right.
people, and he's
Yeah.
willing to do that. And that is his expertise, that is his field, and he's willing to do that for us.
Right.
Did
Right.
tell you about the ones who are willing to come in and sing and do one. I have had somebody who is willing to handle karaoke for me. Because I mean, I am no techie. I am no technical person. I send somebody all the questions for the quiz, and they are going to set it up as a Jeopardy for me.
Right.
You understand? So I'm getting a lot of help.
Mhm.
At first, it was just my idea, and at first, people were a bit apprehensive, bit skeptical. Now, people are spreading it abroad. Only yesterday, I got a message from Curacao telling me that they have sent it out to all their boxers, and they're hoping that all their boxers will be in.
Right.
You understand? So I when I sent it out, I didn't just send it to the associations. I sent it to the referee judges that I know, the coaches that I know, all the people that I had in my on my list. I let it out on them.
Right.
You know.
Mhm. Yeah, because
So
and and because even I know Karakou will be represented. Sebastian Steele and his
yeah. Oh
in
yeah,
Karakou,
Sebastian.
fully represented, thing like that. So certainly I know that they getting ready to participate and thing like that. So
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I want to really thank you, Kathy, for being part of the program. I appreciate, and hopefully on next Saturday I may be able to join in, and
Yep, I will
you know,
certainly send you the link. I'm going to
yes,
send you the link.
I will certainly want to join in and be part of
Okay.
the activity. I
We
appreciate
go from 4:30 to 6:30.
from
From four,
4:30.
it might most likely now it will be from 4:30 to 7, because we were planning on 2 hours, but it looks like it's going to go for about 2.5 hours now.
Okay then. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Glad to hear that. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you
Okay
too
then.
for having me.
All right then, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye
Okay then,
bye.
yeah, bye. Okay then, folks. So that's uh, Kathy Harper-Hall live from Bridgetown in Barbados, speaking to us about that evening, that special evening, with our boxers. That's coming up. you know, um, an evening of entertainment, as they call it, an evening of entertainment with the Caribbean boxing family. Boxers, trainers, coaches, referee judges, name it. They will be together. It's a virtual activity, but as you heard, even the folks from Carrefour, and I know Sebastian says, "Hey, listen, I am organizing my." When I mentioned that to him, he says, "Don't worry, man, we taking care of." Karakou is in the house already. I was laughing, because he said, "Don't worry, Karakou is in the house already." And when it comes to culture, Karakou is in the mix, especially when it comes to Grenada and things. Karakou is in the house. So I assume, and by the way, and around this time of the year too, it's big thing in Karakou in terms of culture. So I know they wouldn't disappoint us. I'm glad to hear Suriname and Curacao and all the others, Bahamas, everyone in the mix. So we look forward to that. And I assume over the next few days, I know Kathy wouldn't disappoint us. When she is in it, she is in it. So it's just a matter of reminding those and spreading the news and hoping to get not just the boxers, but the others, the coaches and all others to be in it. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate you being part of the program. Saturday, we should have another program right here in South Carolina. It's always a pleasure moving around and trying to have a program. I appreciate your support, and I'll keep reminding you as well, okay, about next Saturday with the evening of entertainment for the boxers, because I think we need to give them that support as well. Thank you very much for being part of the program. Hope to see you on Saturday. Thank you very much.